with the shot is Jesson, and it falls into the hand of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's poor, and Jesson will know that himself. Like, that ball has to go over the bar, or else he has to keep running with it and take the tackle on, you know. And you can see the bit of frustration inside with Berkey as well. So they need a bit of a lift here now before half time in order to really have a chance at going back at this in the second half. Because if Boden get a smell of blood as well, similar to Cool earlier on, they'll put you away.
That's a really good turn by Aidan Mellett, trying to get away from Clerkin. Had Hammersley as an option, but took on the score himself and gets it. Yeah,
good wrist as well. Aidan realised he couldn't catch it again, and that's up to an 8-point lead now after 23 minutes.
Well, it's not like Na Fianna haven't had the scores, but or haven't had the scoring opportunity. They just haven't got the scores.
Oh.
It's tidied up by David O'Connor, goes to ground, and it looks like it's a free out. Just to say as well, I'm aware that apparently transmission was lost for a few minutes, so we apologise for that. Ballyboden on top. Na Fianna have had chances, but Ballyboden have taken theirs, and that's the big difference. 8 points the gap, 9 points to 1 is the score.
Yeah, just Na Fianna will be very disappointed with the wides they've had so far, you know, and Boden look efficient without being overly brilliant yet, having a couple of wides themselves. But Connell is working seriously hard at 11 there, and McMurrough has been unlucky there with
unlucky.
Like you said, Ocean, he's been everywhere. Like, he's around the place. He's added something to this Boden team, but McMurrough for me is the key to it. The movement, the vision, you know, just a sense of where to be at the right time, and he's torturing that inside line for Na Fianna with movement.
Niall Ryan intercepts. McMurrough coming out to meet him. Ryan ploughs on, and it's a free out.
Yeah, steps.
Well, the Na Fianna line have seen enough. They're making a change. Going off as Jesson.
I think Berkey doesn't realise that the Mooney and Ryan are having a chat there about who's buying the coffee for each other during the week. I'd say he hadn't been blown a whistle yet. But look, again, going back to 25 minutes of championship hurling, I'm sure the lads over Neil and Rochi and that and Colm that on the line, they won't be happy with their efficiency so far. It's not. It won't be what they'll want, and like I said, both teams are missing a lot of players here today, but for me, the forward line that Na Fianna have to give AJ a chance or Berkey a chance, there's no point in driving that ball in high. They have to be giving them an opportunity and a chance to win it. But yeah, I said there'd be an interesting few words at half time now for me, for if I was involved in that dressing room. It's that they really need to stand up in that half forward line and win their own ball, because Jono can puck balls all day long, but if you don't put your hand up to win it, it's just not going to happen.
Sean Ryan in for Na Fianna, a tall man, a ball winner. He can get scores as well. Well, getting the ball in there hasn't been that much of an issue. It's finishing it off, that has been the issue.
Yeah.
Remember, missing the Currys, missing Polo D, missing Shane Barrett. I know I keep going on about it, but there is a reason I keep going on about it, because those players are such huge losses, and they're still not out of it. Coming forward here is Fergal Brannock. They need a score to climb over.
Yeah, it's just that they're festering now. You can see it, and you can see the body language as well. Every time something goes wide, you can see the heads going down inside. So they just need somebody like a Burke or a Rushy to settle things down here now and just put a ball over the bar before half time, because that scoreline won't be good enough, both from a team perspective but from a management perspective. You've definitely got something to stick in them at half time.
Crooks 1-8, Lucan 6 points, a latest score. Gets away from Dooley, falls kindly for Liam Rush. Rush looking for Ryan. Ryan can't make it his. Ballyboden sweep around. Ryan not giving up on it, but Luke Mulligan-Lynch is back there. Recycles it out to Shane Durkin. Shane Durkin taking all the time in the world before playing a ball across the park.
Yeah, smart. And again, Dirk's, he's been there and he's done that both in Boden colours and Dublin colours, and just compare that to what hitting the ball down the line or up through the centre. Good turnover there by Na Fianna.
Well, it just goes to tell you how much trust managers have in their players now, that it used to be a case if you won a ball, you just fired it long. Get it like you love it, get rid of it like you hate it, as Tommy Walsh would say. As McMurrough steals in, pops it up for Conall Keeney, and Keeney slots it over. His first.
He's having a fine game there now. He's doing a lot of work around the middle in that 11 position. He's tackling, he's harrying, and he's the man doing that manly stuff as well at centre forward. And for a man at the age he's at now, he won't like me mentioning what it is, but he still has it, and he's still adding so much to that Boden team.
Approaching 40, Closer to 40 than 30. That's his age. His hurling age is about 24. Fergal Bernach lays it backwards looking for Baxter. Baxter didn't read it. Here's Dooley. In fairness to Baxter, it was a hard one to get to. Clattering in there as Oliver does well. Turning and twisting John Tierney. Rush looking for AJ Murphy. He's followed by Stephen O'Connor, who just shepherds it out.
Yeah, Steve's marking AJ quite very tightly over there, and AJ's getting frustrated as well because the ball that's coming in is, I was going to say a word I probably shouldn't, but it's poor, and he's getting frustrated because Steve will, he will really stick with you all day long, and he's a great man marker. We would have had him a lot in 18 as a man marker, and you don't need AJ getting frustrated now because again, you need to get in at half time here now and have a couple of really look in the mirror at yourself rather than looking at stats. Look in the mirror at yourself and say, do you really, really want this, or are you going to use the excuse that OD and Barrett are not there, or do you want to kind of actually go out and show what you have?
Dooley looking for McMurrow. He's up against Kelly. That's a good turn by McMurrow. Takes his point.
Yeah, and the chance was on there, and again I go back to what I said earlier on, Oisin. You can talk about the young players coming through, which is so important for Dublin, but for me, look at Niall McMurrow there, and that's the kind of player that the Lee Murphys and that of this world need to be looking at. His wrists, his hands, his strength, and again the opportunity there was probably to go at him, and he look at that clip himself during the week and see that there was space inside to probably test Jono, but just keep the scoreboard taking over, jab, and they're 10 points up here, but we gave out about the last game lacking intensity at times, but 1 point in 30 minutes hurling needs to be addressed by management when they go in. And
they've made another change. Liam Stacey has come in. He's just on the ball now, gives it to Clerkin, who lets it go. Stephen O'Connor couldn't pick it up. You wouldn't blame him for that. There was many bodies around. It squirts out and somehow is taken by David O'Connor, who's getting away from Sean Ryan.
Yeah, Doc has done well, Oisin, you're right, and he comes out there bravely, takes a rattle of a hurl in as well, and look, like we said earlier on, if you're going to give it, you have to be able to take it, and it's great to see Doc hadn't started the last 2 games, and he was brilliant for me in 18-19. He's heart of a lion as well for a small man, and he's doing really, really well inside, as you said there.
Liam Stacey, a decent footballer as well, part of a Fianna team that got to an under-21 final. They were beaten by Coola. That was in 2019. Like so many players on that pitch at the moment, very good at Gaelic football and hurling. Here's Paul Ryan. He's really good at free taking. Ryan looking for his third from a free and not getting it. Not yet anyway.
It's unlike him. Even at that distance, and I know people think you're mad saying it, but he's a 96-97% shooter from frees, and similar to Trey, he rarely misses.
Clerkin, the Fianna need a boost before half time. Can they get it? Clerkin driving on. It's a good run. Clerkin, guys past O'Connor. There might be a goal on here. Stacey goes to ground. It's a penalty.
Yeah, it is. And that was a brave run as well, Oisin. And it's good refereeing too to allow him to go, but he really ran direct at the heart of the defence, and in fairness to, I think it was Dirks who took him in there, or maybe Finn, he had to take him down in order to stop the goal chance, but they still give Berkey a chance, and they need it. They need to bury this now. It'll give them a bit of a lift going in at half time if they can get it. If they don't, it's a long road back.
A really good driving run by Diarmuid Clerkin. Another man with county experience. Played for DCU as well. Of course, the connection there is obvious. Donald Burke. His team need a goal. Can he provide it? He's up against McGarry. Burke.
It's wide. I was just about to say he'll always hit it to his left, and he did, and it just kind of sums up their first half, really, doesn't it? That just nothing has gone for them at all. He's missed 2 frees. I've never seen him doing that from that distance. He's missed a penalty, but it's not all Donald Burke. It's just, look, it's a tough half hurling for Fianna. It's a big lesson. You can like missing the ODs and Currys and Barrett is an excuse, and so be it. But at the same time, you've got a lot of guys there that have won underage titles with Fianna at minor and under 20. But there's a big step up when you're coming up against the Keeneys, Durkins, and whatever of this world, Hammersleys. You can see the body language even walking off with young McHugh. So look, it just needs a lift. They're not out of the championship after today, no matter what happens. There's 10 points in it at half time. Lift the heads at half time, get something out of the game from a positive perspective, and move on to the Plunkett's match, which you have to win if you want to go to a quarter final. End of story.
From the Ballyboden point of view, will they just look to keep doing what they're doing?
Yeah, I think they will. I think Kurtz will be happy. Heine's with him over there as well. They've Eamon O'Reilly involved now too this year. Really good, solid guy. Yeah, look, and without being overly brilliant either, McMurrough I think has been really impressive. Again, if I'm sitting up in that stand and you're coming in, as Mihal is now, I'm sure he'll have a word with Niall to get involved over the coming weeks, because for me he still has it. Again, Keeney has been brilliant at 11. Timmy Hammersley's been everywhere. Niall Ryan has done well around the middle. Stephen O'Connor has done really, really well when he's been in on Burke or on AJ, as has Luke as well on Burke. Been impressed enough with David O'Connor as well and Dirk. So look, they haven't been tested, Oisin. I actually think it's something that there needs to be words, tough, strong words at half time now, and not condescending stuff or banging walls stuff. It just needs to be, look, the game now at this stage, just 10 points in it. Is it retrievable? Absolutely. But playing like that, they need to show that bit of the strength of character of what they are as a club, and I think Bowden will just sense blood now, and like Coola did in the first game, hope to drive it home.
Ballyboden lead by 10 points. Whatever could go wrong did go wrong for Na Fianna in that first half. They created a lot of chances. They had 5 or 6 very scoreable shots that went wide, and they also missed a penalty to Donald Burke, who sent McGarry the wrong way but couldn't keep it on target. So Na Fianna, if they can just tweak things in front of goal, might have a chance in this game. At half time, by the way, over in O'Toole Park, it's Kilmacud Crokes 113, Lucan 9 points. We'll have the second half live very shortly indeed. You'll continue to see pictures, you just won't hear us, but we will be back for the second half, so stay with us. Welcome back to Parnell Park. It is the go-ahead Dublin Senior 1 Hurling Championship clash of Na Fianna and Ballyboden. It hasn't gone to plan for Na Fianna. They're 10 points down at the break. They missed a penalty at the death in the first half. They've also missed a number of chances, so it could be closer. They are missing players. Paul O'Dea, Shane Barrett, the two Currys, Burke, all missing. Ballyboden have been more economical in front of goal. The two clubs, by the way, stretched at the top grade, because in Senior 2, at this very moment, the game about quarter of an hour old, Ballyboden taking on Na Fianna. Their second teams taking each other on. Other games in Senior 2 tonight: Whitehall Culumkill against Scully Connell, Ballantyre St John's taking on Castleknock, and Fawkes taking on Thomas Davis. Whitehall Culumkill against Scully Connell and Collins Avenue. Might be able to catch the dying embers of that game on my way back home. Whitehall Culumkill coming up with a dramatic win in the football last week against Castleknock. I'm not sure if it'll be as dramatic today in the hurling in Senior 2. Senior 1 is our concentration. We'd love to hear from you. You can join us via the hashtag GoAheadDSH1. Don't forget to keep an eye on all of the Dublin GAA social media channels, and of course the website for information on games and everything else in the coming minutes, days, hours, months, etc. Today is all about solidifying your position in the group. For Ballyboden St Endas, they have got their eye on top spot. That might come down to a shootout with Coola, and top spot is important because top spot will get you an automatic semi-final position. Na Fianna looking for their second point, and they've got it, and that was a mighty puck of the ball by Donald Burke. Yeah, look, that's what he's capable of doing, Oisín. You know, I'm sure there was a few harsh words at half time and a few honest words at half time, but looking at themselves and look, I've had a lot of those guys at underage level, and I'm sure they're very disappointed at their first half performance. But similar to that, Boden will want to push on. But what a score by Burkey off his left hand side just to start the second half after Rushy won a great ball. Keeney went to flick it on, didn't quite go forward. Na Fianna made a couple of changes in the first half, and as you say, when they're missing so many players, maybe that's not ideal going into your bench so early in the game. Shot released from the corner. Paul Ryan looking for his first from play. Tracy has a look up. McMorrow tries to close him down. Tracy gets it away. Trying to get under it is David O'Connor. Left it off for Shane Durkin. It's not the tidiest of hand passes, but Luke McDwyer is able to get there. 3 points for him in the first half. Luke McDwyer looking for McMorrow. Kelly gets in there. McMorrow hasn't given up. Niall Ryan in to help him out, but Kelly steals away. Really good work by Conor Kelly. Clerkin looking for Ryan. Ryan, can he get it into the hand? Backing him up there is Tierney. Ryan still with it. Ryan got the shot away, but it was blocked. Just had too much to do. Too many Ballyboden bodies around him. And taking a walk out to the far side is Stephen O'Connor. Quilty, who has played for Dublin in the past, makes it his. Tosses it out for Liam Rush. Closed down by Conall Keeney. Move back to Quilty. AJ Murphy is the target. AJ gets it. He's got Ryan inside. Stephen O'Connor tries to get to him. AJ Murphy puts it over, and it's 2 points to no score in the second half so far for Na Fianna. Yeah, and look, it's not rocket science, Oisín. That kind of ball is the kind of ball that AJ wants. You know, he wants the ball into the corner, give him a chance to win it. You know, in fairness to Martin and to Rushy there as well, that's what they've done for the last two scores. And look, you want him, I suppose, for not only for Na Fianna but for Dublin hurling as well. Now, under new management, you'd want a bit of a kick out of Na Fianna here now as well, because if they have any ambition about driving forward over the next couple of weeks, they need to show a bit of character. Just don't give me the excuses of who's missing again. Just let's see what they can do with the players that are on the field. Rush looks down the park for Ryan, who takes it really well. He's got a runner with him. That's Stacey, who has to step inside. He's fouled, and it's a free in. And look, I've been here as well with Boden. I remember going in at half time 14 or 15 points up against Whitehall in 19, you know, and everybody thinks you just come back out in the second half and play the game, but sometimes when the other team gets that gander up, you know, it's hard to stop that as well. And you know, I'm not surprised that Na Fianna had a couple of, you know, like we said, a couple of harsh words, but Burkey won't miss that, and that'll lift him up now. That's 2 points for him in the second half. 3 without reply for Na Fianna. It's a really bright start to the second half. Was that the game where Owen O'Donnell got an absolutely savage goal? It could have been, yeah. I know young Gray had a chance to
Dara had a huge game for Whitehall that night, but I think Dara had a chance as well to win it even, or to level it at the end. We won by a point, but look, it's momentum now, like, and I'm sure Kurtz has said to these lads as well now, if there's anything in you to drive this on to make sure that you nail your final spot before the Coola game, I'm sure that'll come from David, and if not, he'll no better man to be ruthless enough to take anybody out there who's kind of trying to saunter through a second half.
Taken well by McDwyer on the run. He's being chased by Sean Baxter. McDwyer, he glides over the grass. McDwyer trying to get away from Gleeson. McDwyer, that's easy for Tracy. Spilled out over the line by Hugh O'Sullivan. Well, the noise level has certainly picked up in the second half. AJ Murphy, that's a good ball to him. Little bit of a heavy touch, but much to his credit, regathers. Turns into trouble, AJ Murphy. He's dispossessed. Battling for it still is Peter Feeney. He can't get it. AJ Murphy just looks on as Ballyboden clear it down the park. Timmy Hammersley, good turn, although he's wrapped up brilliantly by Conor McHugh. Good work by McHugh. Line ball to Nafina. McHugh takes it quickly. Smart play. Liam Rush, the all-star, tries to get away from Keeney, who trips him, and that's a free out.
Yes, another one for Burkey here now as well, and AJ has shown promise in the front, looking for water now from the line as well. If I was the lads over there now, I'd tell them to get back in now and work for the next 20 minutes before you look for anything at all, because they need to show that bit of heart and bit of fight. Again, Sean Ryan has caused, he's won his first 2 balls inside. If you're Kurtz there now as well, you're probably looking at the size difference with Doc O'Connor back as the sweeper, because Sean Ryan has caused problems in the first couple of minutes there. Baxter's really, after coming back out, he'd gone off Luke, but now he's back out on him again.
Burke.
Yeah.
This is some display by Nafina in the second half. The difference is that they are taking their chances. Still 6 in it, but still a long way to go. Dooley couldn't make it stick. Quilty. It's turned over, and here's Niall Ryan. Ryan looking for Ballyboden's first of the second half. He's unlucky. McMurrow tried to step away from Kelly from an awkward angle while kind of moving backwards. He pops it over. That's a really good score. Their first of the second half. His 4th of the game. Yeah,
first of the second half, and something that they needed as well, because Nafina had the tails up, and again I was probably going to, as much as I give out about Nafina hitting that ball in the first half, David wouldn't be happy with that ball coming from Stephen, that distance in, rather than trying to work it through the lines or working it into the periphery as well to get.
Well, that was loose. Dooley's on the ground. He felt that one.
Yeah, good call by Chris. I think, again, it was loose, but the ball was there, just a little bit off, but solid refereeing as well. Dooley's a big man. He'll be up off the ground in a second as well. But again, just from a Bowden perspective now, you can see Doc, and this is where Lambert, this is where you miss your Lambert, and Dirks is trying to do the same now as well. This is where you need the instruction of get the scores, keep the ball tipping over. You have to kind of up the work rate now again, because Nafina have the gander up. So that's where the likes of Lambert and that missing can be a loss for, as much as Barrett is for Nafina. Lambert's a massive loss for Bowden.
.118 Kilmacud Crooks, 12 points Lucan. And just to confirm, Martin Quilty gets a yellow card for Nafina, and Ballyboden get a point through Paul Ryan. So that's a good response. 2 in a row for Ballyboden, having conceded 4 in a row at the start of the second half. And they've opened up an 8-point gap. A change being made. Timmy Hammersley is going off. They're making a few switches. Conal Keeney going in full forward. Looks like Mellett is going to centre forward. And Pierce Christie, who was named to start, is now in.
Yeah, I'd imagine Pierce will probably go in at 11 and bring Aidan back to midfield again here.
Good ball outside by McHugh. Quilty. Ryan will try and get under this one. There's a free incoming advantage is being played.
Yeah, late hit there. Chris allowed the advantage to see could Sean get the ball inside. But yeah, Pearce, look, loads of energy. Christie, he's massive potential for the future. He was part of that Dublin 20 squad as well. And you can see he's already hit himself because he's probably fired up that he was named to start and then didn't start. But I thought Timmy was everywhere in the first half. But again, maybe Kurtz is thinking, give this lad an opportunity, because when he gets the ball in hand, he has immense, serious pace. So again, somebody to look at for the future, both for Boden and for Dublin.
AJ Murphy is down. That would be a big loss for the Fianna if he was to go off. Standing over the free, Donald Burke. Burke. It's a decent hit. 3 frees for him. A goal for Fianna would certainly make things interesting, but they'll find that harder to come by if AJ Murphy goes off.
Yeah, it's in trouble. It looks like the hamstring that physio is working on there, but if she can get him right there at all, he seems to be quite sore.
So Finn McGarry to get us underway. That's easily commentator's curse. Dropped by Oliver, got it back up inside to Rush. Rush absolutely harangued. Got it away from Keeney. Referee says play on. Oliver tries to pick out AJ Murphy. Seems to have shaken off that injury. That's a good ball by AJ Murphy.
It is, but he needs to take it on the move as well, and he stopped. The body movement stopped, which meant he was back into traffic again. I don't think AJ looks too comfortable on that leg.
Paul Ryan spills it, but into the path of Luke Corcoran. Corcoran outside, but there was plenty of space. Running it out, Hugh O'Sullivan. Looking for McMurrow. Gets away from Kelly. McMurrow. Niall Ryan wants it and gets it. Niall Ryan balances it perfectly, gets inside Quilty. Ryan still going, advantage coming. They might need it. Keeney. The free will come now. Keeney just didn't hit it with enough venom, but he knew the free was coming anyway. Yeah,
high challenge on Niall there. But again, going back to the influence that Keeney can have, and McMurrow there as well. And if you're, I've said it. We've said it all day. Like, he's probably got 4 from play. Has Niall got 4 from play? I think, and he's bunched around there. He's tortured that in the Fianna full back line. And I think going forward for Boden, having him back in the team or with an option to start is huge for them. With the final game in the group against Coola.
It is 4 from play. You're absolutely correct. Paul Ryan with 3 from frees. He'll hope to add to that now. Referee wants a word here with Sean Baxter. A word, but no more. Ballyboden doing enough to keep that comfortable margin. 8 points it remains. Kelly. Ryan's going to try and get under this one. Doesn't manage to catch it cleanly. AJ Murphy. He's in a crowd. Can he get a shot away? It goes up in the air. Might fall down here for Clerkin. Referee spotted a late stroke. He's having a word with Shane Durkin. It's a free into the Fianna.
Yeah, I think it's David O'Connor he's not happy with. Just about a bang on the top of the head. I think both of them are. You're right, actually. It was Dirks that got the yellow, but there was AJ got a tap on the top of the head there as well when he was going through. But look, again, I suppose Boden are just kind of sauntering through it here now as well, and that'll give Curtin something to go at them during the week with as well. As much as you give credit to Fianna for coming back out, Boden need a good kind of proverbial kick now at the moment as well to try and kick on like Coola did in the first game.
Taking the free is Donald Burke. McGarry was in a stance that suggested he expected a shot at goal, but it's too early for that. Burke taps it over. His fourth free of the game. Na Fianna making a couple of switches. AJ Murphy, well, unfortunately for him, that injury has caught up with him and he's out for the rest of the game. Tom Brennan has come in, also in for Na Fianna, Hugh Fenlon.
Yeah, and I'd say maybe Na Fianna's management now were thinking, like, even though AJ looked really okay on that last ball, I thought the ball before that he was struggling, but I think as well they're probably thinking, you know, the next game is going to decide their season, because if they don't beat Plunkett's in the next game, they're out. Whereas if they do, they're probably likely looking at a quarter-final spot, depending obviously on other results.
Tracy has to be careful here. Paul Ryan closed him down, but he did get it away. That's a good take and a good turn by Tom Brennan inside to Dermot Clerkin, who'll run up and down the pitch on the wing all day. Clerkin goes long. There was a tackle off the ball. Sean Ryan spills it into the path of Donald Burke. Might fall here for Tom Gleeson. Back to Burke. They're trying to work a goal, try to find Clerkin. Clerkin slips up, but if anything, that actually works in his favour.
Yeah, you're right. There was a tackle there off the ball that they're not going to be happy with. I think it was Pierce or Doc that was running back at the same time, but that's frustrating the Na Fianna line over there. But again, you've got the shape of the game as well. Like, you've got one man in midfield here. There's 3.5 forward line, and obviously Boden now have gone with Dooley sitting in front of the two inside, and it's cutting off any chance or any possibility at all in ways around the middle for Na Fianna to get a foothold in it.
Stephen O'Connor. Shane Durkin wants it and gets it. Durkin, who's on a yellow card, hits a diagonal. Keeney tried to make a break, couldn't. Cleaned up by Conor Kelly. Pacey ball to Tracy. Tom Brennan tried to flick it for the run of Clerkin, but couldn't find him. I beg your pardon, it was actually Baxter he was looking for. Either way, he didn't find him. McMorrow.
What a ball.
Zippy ball, great take. Aidan Mellett.
Good score.
Second of the match for him.
And again, if you talk about analysis, and okay, you've asked me a few questions at times, what do? You give Jono that video during the week about what ball not to hit, do you know, because again, it's just, and you know, I rate Jono very highly as a keeper, but again, launching that ball up into the sky, you're not giving your half forward any chance at all of winning it really. And then you look at the type of ball that McMorrow fizzes the hand and Mellett puts it over the bar.
Well, Na Fianna had a very bright start to the second half. Ballyboden have done enough to kind of keep them at arm's length. 4 points to 6 is the score in the second half. Na Fianna on top by 2, but Ballyboden had a bit of a cushion. Na Fianna, though, can add another one here. He had his I thought he had his book out there for a second, Mooney, but he's put it away now. Burke puts it over. His fifth. Well,
that's over, yeah.
Yeah, that's over. I don't understand how there's any debate about that.
Maybe the sun dipping over there a small bit, or you know, but it's definitely 100% over.
Stephen O'Connor. They're competitors. They'll fight for everything and anything. That's why we love them. Finn McGarry. McMorrow tries to get under it. Throwing his hurley in the air was Dooley. Oliver races back. Tracy wants it again. Everyone's covered. He doesn't have too many options. He'll just have to hit and hope here. Burke chases Ryan. Hasn't managed to take a clean ball since coming in. I don't think he has battled, to his credit. Here's Burke. Burke still going.
Good tackle by Luke there as well, and Burke had a chance to let fly, but he didn't. But like you said, it's the movement up top, and like Reiner is putting his hand up every time, but like you said, it's the clean catch. If he can get one of them into his hand, it gives him a chance to run at it's great defending.
And to be fair, he is battling 2 or 3 defenders every time the ball comes his way, and he's broken it an awful lot. He has made a positive impact. But one thing you want out of a guy that tall is clean catches. Conor Kelly, but the free will go the other way.
Yeah, I just wonder at what stage, like, you know, if you're in the Fianna backroom team there now, at what stage do you say, look, result-wise, we're probably not going to win it? Maybe, you know, I said that last year in the county final when Crokes came back to beat the Fianna. But at what stage do you push up on them and do you really go at it? Because when you're hitting ball in, like you said to Sean, if Jono gets the ball there, he's looking at 5 on 3 nearly every time. So at what stage do you kind of just go and say, right, you know, leave Rushy at 6 on Keeney and then push on and see can you actually win your own ball in the half forward line and full forward line?
Well, Donald Burke will try and reduce it to a 6-point game. It wasn't the cleanest of lifts, but it doesn't matter because it went over. 6 from frees for him, 7 overall, 6 points the gap.
Which is nothing really, like when you think of the two teams and how poor Fianna will say themselves they've been, but to have it down to 6 points now, you know, if you're David Curtin, you'd like to get that goal now, maybe just to give you the comfort blanket over the final 10 or 11 minutes.
Will Fianna seriously regret that first half in which they were 10 points down at the break, but now they have a free and Burke has the chance to make it a 5-point game with 10 minutes to go.
This could be the opposite yet of what I did last year. Called the winner beforehand. But no, look, in fairness to them, they were always going to have a fight back at it, and in fairness to it's good reffing there as well. It was over carrying and he was called for it, and it was good tackling by Fianna, so he'll make it a 5-point game now, you know, again. So I'd love to see like the opportunity, I suppose, maybe of taking AJ off now as well. You know, would you consider taking him back in if you could? And maybe they've used their 5 now.
Well, they are about to make another change. I think you're right. I think even if they felt that AJ would make a positive impact, maybe you're better off not risking him, especially, and I'm no expert, but especially when it's a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
I appreciate I said I'm no expert and then came up with an opinion anyway, but you know what I mean with hamstrings, you don't want to risk them at all. Luke McDwyer. That's a fantastic sniped point. His 4th of the game. It's
an important one for them as well because they needed that. Like the gander again is up with Fianna and you need to quieten that down. But you know, if Fianna had got the next score, there was only 4 points in it. So again, important score by Luke, who's been quiet in ways. He had a massive run through the centre and probably could have and should have put the ball over the bar. But good movement for a puck out. Great puck out by Tracy there. That's a killer though.
That's a wide. And just to let you know, it's Kilmacud Crooks 119, Lucan 15 points. In or around the same amount of time gone in O'Toole Park as there is here in Parnell Park.
Has duly gone off. They brought in Kevin Desmond now again. Kevin had a good year there last year, the year before again with the under-20s with Dublin. Got a couple of goals, important goals in one of their games. So he's somebody who Boden are looking at in the future, I suppose, as well.
Now the future is now. Here's Aidan Mellett. Keeney has a bit of a wild swing at that, but it might be effective. Not on this occasion.
But again, like people are talking about Fianna missing an awful lot of players today, and that's true, and it's credible. But like you have to take Lambert out of that team, Dean Kern out of that team, James Madden out of that team, there's Paddy Dunleavy out of that team. So there's 4 or 5 that you'd imagine will start for Boden come crucial crunch time of the year as well. So both teams will have a lot to learn over the coming weeks.
Fianna will need a goal at some stage. They'll probably need 2. Here's McHugh. Gleeson tries to get there. Can he stick to it? It's pulled on there. Foot race. McDwyer, favourite to win the foot race. He just has the speed, doesn't he? That's a lovely ball out in front, trying to make it his is Pierce Christie. Pierce Christie has got it under control. And that was a clever foul by Matthew Oliver.
Yeah, if Pierce played with DIT this year as well. If he gets a run on you at all, he's as much, if not more, pace than McDwyer. And Luke has come back into it now in the last kind of few minutes when Boden have needed it. And I'm sure David will have some strong words with players over the course of the week as well in regards to making sure not taking the foot off the throat, as they say.
Well, it looked like Christie was in on goal in the inter-county game. That might well have been a penalty.
Yep.
Of course, that rule is not in the club game. Would you like to see it in the club game?
Look, I suppose what would make it nice for the referees.
Your answer depends on whether or not your team is involved and they need to commit a foul.
I just think that sometimes you're kind of standing on the line going, is this applicable to club or county or club? I think maybe we should look at having the same possible rules for everybody to make it easier for players as well as referees as well, because at times you know, even commentators have made mistakes to say it's eligible for the club game. Not that I'm touching on the shoulder or anything.
I may have been caught in the first club game of the year, and you may have clarified it for me. I couldn't take myself out of that county. I'm a county guy, what can I say?
Yeah.
You know, when you're elite like me, you find it hard to step down the club. Here's Conor Kelly.
Jeez.
The high lofted ball hasn't worked too well so far. This one might. Burke did well to hang on to it. Quilty drops it, and they steal away with it. Kevin Desmond using his pace. Here's Niall Ryan using his power. Got away from Liam Rush. McMorrow. He continued his run in behind Pierce Christie. Picks it up on the run. In hot pursuit is Liam Stacey. Well, tried to pick it up on the run. Did initially, but couldn't make it stick. And it's out for a line ball.
Yeah, he did well though. In fairness, young Stacey did well there as well, and you can see Rush as well, kind of barking the, you know, that half forward line needs to kind of get more ball. But you know, Berkey, in fairness, got a fair bang as well in the helmet or the face as well when he came out with that ball after, you know, a strange ball in. But you know, he won it well, and just, you know, maybe could have. You know, could have got a free. You can see Finn hasn't been tested really at all. Like he's doing a warm up down there in the goal. Like, you know, that's something that Fianna will have to look at trying to create. You can see Rushy and Keeney kind of, you know, giving Christmas cards to each other up there as well, which is no harm.
Two heavyweights going at it. Kilmacud Crooks 120. Lucan, I beg your pardon, 16 points.
Well done.
It's a great catch, and then a storm out of defence. 7 between them, and still time. It's looking unlikely, but that's the great thing about hurling. The unlikely can often happen. Clerk spilled it.
Getting a bit ratty out there now as well, you can see it. So I think McHugh has done well there. In fairness, he came out with a great ball with good hands, but like, that's just given the forward no chance to win ball.
Hugh Fenlon sent it long, but it was easily intercepted. David O'Connor switching it. Left behind by Hugh O'Sullivan and almost stealing in, and in fact he does steal in and get it as Donald Burke. This would be a huge score if it goes over, but it won't. But he has the free.
Yeah, Burkey, in fairness, you know, and that's the heart of the man as well, that he's not giving up another 6-7 points down, but he's really working hard, and just got turned over on the far side there, Dirk. So again, you know, they're not giving up, but similar to the first game as well, whether they have enough up front or whether they have the imagination and the real endeavour to give the right ball in to give Sean and them a chance to win it inside. This brings it back to a 6-point game if Burkey can get it.
It's a good score from Donald Burke. He's had a fine second half. 6 between them. 3.5 minutes plus injury time to go. And even if Fianna lose, the fact that they have battled hard and stayed in it despite who they're missing, that's a good sign for them, and something they can take confidence from going into the next game, which is a big one for Ballyboden St Endas. They'll be looking to solidify top spot and get into the semi-final directly. Remember, they'll get into the quarterfinals even if they finish second or third, as Keeney taps it over.
Yeah, good score by Keeney again, and probably a reminder to his opposite number as well. A little tap on the shoulder on the way back out, but great score off his left. And again, look, yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there in regards to Fianna. It shows that, you know, they didn't give up, but again, I suppose David will have a couple of choice words I think this week as well. There's space after opening here now for Quilty, and
Clerkin has a man inside. That man was Tom Brennan. Clerkin continues, looks for Brennan. A bit too much on the pass, and Ballyboden soak it up. They have to go for goals, so maybe he forced the pass. Liam Stacey intercepted it. Quilty battling for it again. Referee gives the free in.
Yeah, the line not happy over there as well, but similar to the first game as well, the kind of the theatrics come out sometimes as well when you're down. But again, for me, you know, you can see Rushy, he's trying to drive them on. You can see inside, young Clerkin has done quite well there too, and I suppose since AJ went off, they've just been hampered massively with injuries this year, you know, for a team that got to a county final and probably just had it won last year. They've just had a tough year, and that can, you know, in sport, Oisin, when you get to a final, there's a long road back there, you know, if you don't win it, an awful long road back to try and get back there as well. But if they can push on the next day and get a win over Plunkett's, you know, they're in a quarter final, and then hopefully they'll have the likes of Colin and that back as well, and you know, possibly Shane and that too. So they're not gone after today. And look, they'll assess it where they went wrong. Their first half wasn't good enough. You said Donald Burke, had a great second half, but you'd expect that. He's one of the best hurlers in the country. First half he needs to look at himself, what happened the first half, and just amend that and fix it for the next day.
Well, it was 11 points to 1 at half time. Ballyboden with 7 points in the second half, doing enough to just make sure they stay in front of Na Fianna comfortably. Na Fianna battling well though in the second half. I thought maybe they might go for goal from that free there, because they really do need a goal at some point. McMorrow chases after the loose one, swept forward by Quilty. McMorrow will win the break. Clever ball. Conall Keaney, look where he is where he needs to be. Ballyboden just sitting deep. They know that Na Fianna need goals, so they're happy enough just to clog up the spaces and ensure they don't get any chances. Here's Kelly. Gleeson goes long from Fenlon, but that was a good block. Left behind by Paul Ryan. Regathers. Ryan hits it wide.
Yeah, good block by John Maguire in around the middle of the field as well there, and you're right, obviously Keaney's back there now. He seems to be down his hunkers at the minute, looks a bit, but again they need a goal in Na Fianna, and that's why Keaney's gone back. But again, the opportunity and chances, if they get it inside to Berkey, there's no better man to finish it.
What a burst from McHugh, couldn't find the final pass. McDwyer. The door is somewhat open for Ballyboden because Na Fianna had to push on. Chasing after that is Pierce Christie. It's an easy point for him if he wants it. Christie. It's a good score.
Good score, yeah. And Martin Creelty, I look at him here now, and he's out on his feet. He's worked and he's worked and he's worked and he's tried, even when the chips were down. You can see him now, and he's over on McMorrow here now as well. But he really he looks like a man just out of gas now at the minute after the effort he's put in.
Keaney batting that one down. Stacey collecting it on the break, trying to guide it over as Liam Rush, and he does.
You'd wonder as well, if you were over in that line, would it be worthwhile if maybe 5 minutes or 6 minutes ago, even though he seems to be struggling with the leg a little bit now, Rushy, but would you put him up there at 14 for the last 5 or 6 minutes, even though the time is up now? But it's just an option for Na Fianna going forward.
Luke Corcoran. Ballyboden run out of pitch. Melick couldn't keep it alive. Well, don't forget to keep an eye on the Dublin GA social media channels and the website. We'll have details and scores from all the games across the weekend. We'll also have details of the next matches broadcast. TG Cahir are here next weekend for the football weekend, but Dubs TV will bring you a lot more games between now and the finish of the season. Is this a good finish from Paul Ryan? It is. He's had to wait, but that's his first from play today.
Yeah, and that's the idea, I suppose, we spoke about earlier on, about maybe having him in around that middle area as the shooter. When he's not inside, he's always a goal threat, but there's the final whistle, and look, it's a win for Bowden, while not really playing overly well, but at the same time, it's a win, and they would have taken it on the way out here. And Na Fianna, obviously both teams missing a lot, and look, I wouldn't rule out that both teams meeting again at some stage later in the year. Na Fianna will be very disappointed with that performance. They'll know themselves they're missing players, but they will be disappointed. And I suppose going forward now, it's important for that management team to get Shane and the Currys back and whatever else ASAP in order to have a chance of getting to where they were last year.
11 points to 1 the score at half time. Na Fianna wasted a lot of chances and missed a penalty late in that first half. They rallied in the second, but the gap was just too big to close, and Ballyboden did what they needed to do. Let's have a look at some of the second half highlights. The second half, far better viewing for Na Fianna than the first. Yeah,
absolutely. They started off, they came out the traps. Berkey, with a ball from 80 yards there, great score to start it off. And for a man who we all rate so highly in Dublin hurling circles, he's somebody who was very, very quiet. Marshalled well by Luke in the first half. Again, AJ, when they had chances and opportunities in the second half, they just seemed to go over, whereas in the first half they just struggled to hit anything right at all. Did 2 or 3 very bad wides, and obviously the penalty as well was they didn't test. I don't think Finn had a chance to save all day, although you could say the same for Jono. There was no real goal chances there, and I suppose for a match that was billed as possibly the match of the weekend, it didn't really live up to it. And I think what you're going to say is what you said earlier on. I think it's so true. I think the last day now will take a life of its own, because it needs a bit of life. I think today, if we're being genuinely honest as hurling men, today's viewing wasn't pretty for both games.
Yeah, and it didn't seem that any of the games, either here or O'Toole Park, were overly amazing. Kilmacud Crokes have beaten Lucan 124 to 18 points. But we're checking out the second half highlights from Fianna and Ballyboden. They needed a goal in Fianna, it never came. It never really looked like coming either, did it?
No, and I think what you said earlier on, I think if Sean Ryan had just got one of those balls into his hand, right, they just tended to pop out an awful lot as well. And when they lost AJ as well, and look, let's be honest about it, you're taking two Currys out of the team, you're taking Shane Barr as their wing forward, you're taking AJ out injured, so that's all excuses, and that's fine. You're bringing in players who've won a lot at underage, but there's a big step up pushing at this level. Boden are a seasoned team there. They've probably got 11, 12 of their starting team out there, but they're men. There's a big difference between guys that are coming up, learning their trade, and that Boden team, I said it to you on the first day that I saw them, I don't think they'll be too far away come the business end of the year.
Well, they're into the knockout stages now. It just remains to be seen whether or not they'll go through as group winners or not. Obviously on the last day of the championship, well, let's just be sure of the fixtures. We're still looking at the second half highlights that were better viewing for Fianna than they were for Ballyboden maybe in the second half, although Ballyboden will say, well, you know what, we dug in and we did what we needed to do. The next game, by the way, is Coola for Ballyboden, so that's pretty much just a straight out shootout to see who wins the group.
Yeah, whoever wins that tops the group, and the same will probably apply to Fianna. Have to beat Plunkets in order to go through. The last game, obviously Jude's have a bye in the last game, so it looks, so Fianna have to beat Plunkets, and whoever wins between Boden and Coola will top the group straight to a semi-final.
Yep. Well, that's the story with that group. Kilmacud Crokes through in the other. Bit of business to be done there still as well. They did try and work goals in Fianna, but just Ballyboden defensively were solid.
Yeah, I thought Stephen O'Connor had a good game. Durkin, as always, he's a lion of a man, and I thought he was very solid when he needed to be. Look, they've loads to work on. I'm sure over in that circle, I was very honest too. There's performances there that won't be good enough individually or collectively at times for Ballyboden if they want to push on. The same as for Fianna, but Fianna, in fairness, in the second half did show some character. They'll be so disappointed with that first half, and then you wonder sometimes, did the loss of the players, did it kind of disseminate itself down through the squad over the last week or so, that they kind of need the kind of proverbial kick now to say, right, we've got 2 weeks now to get this right. If we beat Plunkets, we're in a quarter final. If we don't, we're done, and you'll be sitting at home till this time next year.
So Ballyboden St Endas overcome Fianna 20 points to 11. Fianna were missing a lot of players. We talked an awful lot about that. Ballyboden welcomed back some players as well. Niall McMorrow looked like he was never away.
Yeah, I've said it for the last couple of years, even in 18-19 when I was there. I think he has he's a huge addition to Boden, but I still think at 30, like he was minor with me in 07, and I still think he's probably 29, 30 years of age now. Could he add something to a Dublin setup going forward? Absolutely. He got 4 or 5 from play. But you look over there on the pitch as well. Look, it's great to see the kids out, but you look over at the Boden lads there, and you've got Paul Ryan and Shane Durkin and Simon Lambert just with their kids getting photographs taken. Like, those lads have been there and done it and bled blue for Dublin and for Ballyboden, and they want another county title because it doesn't go on forever. They're starting new families, they're getting pictures taken with kids and wives there now. So look, it doesn't go on forever, and that Fianna team is young, but getting back to a county final, they're a long way off it, and they just need an injection now of realism and life over the next 2 weeks or so to see do they really want to kind of push on and get back to a quarter final for the year ahead. But look, I think what will happen, Oisín, in 2 weeks' time, please God, when we meet here, it'll be cutthroat at that stage. Like, do Coola want to go direct to the route? Don't do Boden, and at the same time, the relegation matches are going to have huge implications for clubs going forward in senior, because Fogs are doing really well in senior B, and they could push on, the same as other clubs that are trying to get back up into senior A capacity. So yeah, look, in 2 weeks' time, I think we'll see more. I thought today was poor enough fare in fairness, and I'm sure Micheál and those that are there from a Dublin hurling capacity now will hope to see better days in Parnell Park.
Well, Fianna lose out to Ballyboden St Endas by 7 points, 20 points to 13. For Ballyboden, they'll take on Coola on the last day, and what's to be decided there is actually quite a big thing. Can you get through as group winners directly to a semi-final, or will you play a quarter-final? I'm sure if you made the offer both teams would say we'd rather take the semi-final spot directly. Kilmacud Crokes looking good for that semi-final spot, having had a win over Lucan today. On the final day of that group, St Vincent's will take on Kilmacud Crokes, and St Bridget's will take on Lucan. Craig Kieran have a bye, so there's still a lot to be decided there. As I say, keep an eye out on the Dublin GA website for all the detail regards fixtures, standings and everything else that you need to know. And of course you can join the conversation via social media on all the usual Dublin GA social media channels by hashtagging GoAheadDSH1. It's football next weekend. TG Cahir have the games on Sunday, so you'll have their company for that. Dublin GA getting the platform it deserves, the Dublin Club Championship. I'm not sure what the situation is with Saturday, but it will be clarified during the week. As I say, just keep an eye out on all the social media channels and the website for broadcast details. From Joe Fortune, myself, Oisin Langan, and all the team here in a sunny Parnell Park, we will say good night and good luck.